Good morning and welcome to Monday, week 3. Come round again quick, isn't it? So another week. Now, took a tip off a YouTuber who was talking about heart rate zones, and he said best thing he can do is take pace, time off the screen and just leave heart rate and distance. So that's what I'm doing. Heart rate and distance, making it a lot easier to just hover around in that lovely zone. Monday evening again. Said you'll always find me at the track. True to my word. On a very blustery, borderline stormy night, so that'll be fun. But it's a circular track, we get the wind behind us for 50%, so always a silver lining. Now tonight's session is very high aerobic. It's what we call the how high can you go session, which is 35 minutes of continuous running, which starts with 100 meters at tempo and then 100 meters recovery, 200 meters tempo, 100 meters recovery, 300 meters tempo, 100 meter recovery. You get the idea, don't you? Just keep adding 100 meters to the distance of your tempo and go as far as you can in 35 minutes. Usually end up, I think, with about an 800 or a K for the last rep. So yeah, warming up time. I'm going to warm up a little bit slower than I have been, because I might as well use the warm up as a bit more zone 2 practice. But anyway, that's it for now. Actually use that warm up in a slightly different way to usual, as I wanted to keep it all in zone 2. The typical way to bring it down if it's gone up too much is to walk, but I wanted to practice using adjustments to pace to bring it back under control. Nearly breached the limit a couple of times, but with a slight reduction in jogging pace, which I'm getting more of a feel for now, managed to stay there 100%. The actual session itself, however, well over 50% in zone 3, so a completely different type of session to the normal, and the reason I'm keeping Monday track. Well, hello and welcome to Tuesday. This is something you won't see very often. Steve Reed on a bike, least of all stationary indoor bike, but as they say, the heart doesn't know any difference between any form of exercise when it comes to what it's doing. So a little bit of heel pain on the left foot means I have got scheduled a 5-mile recovery run. So what I'm going to do, let's assume 10 minutes a mile for a recovery run. I'm doing 50 minutes on the exercise bike. There's a little pulse meter on here that my hands are gripped onto. I don't know how accurate it is, but I've got my watch going as well. So yeah, here we go. 50 minutes indoor cycling. Not going anywhere. Something I'm not used to at all, but these must. Oh my goodness. I did not, I repeat, not enjoy that. That was billed as a recovery, and there's a really weird paradox going on here, because the heart rate, I could not get it above 105 beats a minute, which if I was running would be out and out absolute joyful recovery. But my perception of work was that 50 minutes was never ending. Really hard work all the way through. So what on earth is going on there? I can't get my head around it. Even when I worked hardest, absolutely maximum output, I could only get my heart rate up to about 110. So I don't know whether it's on my exercise bike. I'm pointing to it, it's over there, that beast, or horrible torture machine. I don't know whether it's because the seat is too low for me, because obviously I'm a tall geezer and that seat doesn't go too high, and therefore perhaps the quads weren't getting their range of movement they need on a bicycle. Maybe it's that. I don't know, it's going to take me a bit to get my head around, and I don't think I'll be doing many recovery type stuff on an exercise bike, because that 50 minutes went on and on and on, and I was clock watching, even though I couldn't get my heart rate above 105. So back to running tomorrow. I don't know what else to say. I just did not like that at all. And there's the proof if you need it. 100% in zone 1, the complete chill out zone, even though my relative perceived effort was maxing. I don't know what was going on there. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. This is the long run on Wednesday mornings. Becoming quite a habit now, as we say. This one, it's been 10s up to now, but I've notched it to 11.5 today. So I found a slightly different route, gone south of where I live, much more open fieldy sort of terrain. If you're lucky, you might see some deer. I've seen them, but I didn't get the camera out quick enough. And a hare, and some other wildlife I probably can't name. I just want to say a quick thank you to the 48, there's a deer over there by the way, 48 subscribers. First of all, thank you as well if you've watched more than 30 seconds of content, because that gives us one of those views. And if you click the old bell and all that sort of stuff and subscribe, it really helps as well, because you'll get to know when new ones come out and just watch 30 seconds. But if you have got the tenacity to watch the whole thing, I salute you, because you've probably got the ultra runners mindset, because I'm not one for short content. As you'll see, my training week in Tenby, I think it was a half an hour mini movie, and a lot of these week summaries are coming in at 25 minutes. So if you've actually got the patience and I say tenacity to watch the whole of them, you've got the mind of an ultra runner. So on this run this morning, if it's okay, I wouldn't mind just explaining how I got into ultra running in the first place, because it's a story that starts in 2021, and I don't think any of us have done much racing through 2020, so we probably all revisited our goals, what we like about running, etc. Anyway, Isabel, my eldest daughter's on her laptop, and she suddenly pipes up, "Dad, do you fancy doing an ultra?" And I said, "Well, if you can find one, then tell me about it, and if I can do it, yeah, come on in, let's do it." So she found this one in Dorset on the Jurassic Coast, which is, it was about 37 miles, so a bit further than the 50k entry level. Quite a lot of elevation in the latter stage, because if you know the Jurassic Coast in Dorset, it's quite rolling, shall we say. Beautiful, but rolling. And yeah, we signed up. And what I remember is the night before, even though I'd done a fair block of training, I just could not sleep. And the recurring thought going through my mind was, what on earth have you taken on? You've got no hope of finishing running 37 miles. Why? Anyway, something about once you're in it and you're in nature and you're in beautiful countryside, and bear in mind we were blessed with a perfect blue sky day for our first one in May, probably about 12 degrees as well, so it wasn't too warm. But anyway, that's the thing about ultras. You're in countryside, you can't run quick because of the distance and because of the terrain and the elevation, so you just have to enjoy yourself. And boy oh boy did we enjoy ourselves. And when we finished, admittedly exhausted, but I finished marathons and I've said never again, but I finished that and I think we both agreed, whoa, this is the start of a new journey. Loved it so much, and hence here we are, training for a beast of an ultra 4 years later, 3 years later. Next week I'll share why it's particularly what I love about ultras in more detail, but for now, 4.5 miles in to this Wednesday morning run, and I can report it's actually remarkably easy to keep in zone 2 today. Probably about 10 beats a minute average, lower than last week, so maybe there's training effect already after 2 weeks. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Now if we have a look at the heart rate zone, something strange did happen in the last mile and a half where it jumped up to 165. I'm going to put that down to no breakfast and getting tired on the run. Good morning, Thursday morning, 7 o'clock. This was the first morning, had to happen at some stage I guess, first morning where the anti-training head demon nearly won the day. I had to go about 8 rounds of conversation with said demon until I eventually booted myself out the door, so here I am. Oh dear. As long as you keep winning, as long as you keep winning the head battles, that's what matters, isn't it? That's what matters. Grumpy Steve has gone now. So glad I got out for that run, last mile now. And I can report that it's getting easier and easier and easier to stay in zone 2. I mean, I was pretty much hovering up the upper band and having to keep walking. Now I'm a good 10 beats a minute away from the upper band, and it's even allowing me to tuck in an 8:30 mile at some stage. So I can't really believe just 2 weeks of focusing on zone 2 can have an effect, a training effect already. But maybe continue to watch. Let's see what more improvements. Who knows? Might make a runner of me yet. Yeah, there we go. More zone 1 and zone 2 proof. I'll stop adding these proofs in as we get down the line, but it's the first time I've focused on zone 2 ever in my training, so I'm like a little kid in the candy shop with excitement when I do actually get to stay in the zone. It's Friday again. Intervals. Comes around so quick, doesn't it? So tonight is a nice little pyramid of 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, then 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute of hard tempo efforts with 2 minutes, nice generous 2 minutes of jog recovery in between. Chance to get the legs fully stretched out again, probably tempo fast shoes on, can have a bit of fun on a lovely dry sunny evening. See you in a bit. So this is a 2 mile warm up. Historically I've not warmed up as long as that for road intervals, but it's always a chance to just add an extra mile here, an extra mile there, and before you know it, it all adds up over a month, a quarter, a year, doesn't it? So this is very much sort of a comfortable, easy warm up, and then I'll have a mile warm down as well. So it might end up with about, could be as much as 7 miles on this interval session. There we go, all done. It will be a 7 mile session because I'm on my 1 mile warm down now. Anyway, I'm really enjoying intervals lately. I think because psychologically I'm not pushing myself as hard because I know that the goals have changed and it's just about maintaining a high degree of leg speed without overdoing it. But even so, good news in 2 areas. Heart rate didn't really go up much above 150 even on the efforts. Didn't come down much on the recoveries over 2 minutes admittedly, but I was doing about 610, 620 miling, which for me is the upper end of my range when it comes to aerobic. Anything under 6 would be anaerobic. So yeah, pleasing session. Signing off. Yeah, and to echo what I've just said there, that above the first part is zone 1, so that's 95% or so in zone 2, which is pretty unusual for an interval session. You'd expect it to move into zone 3 quite regularly, but I seem to be maintaining a good pace at the upper end of zone 2, so happy days. Hello, today is all about the Essex Cross Country League. It's 5 miles at Hainault Forest, first of 5 fixtures I believe. We have got a beautiful sunny day and the ground, even though we've had a lot of rain, is quite firm. Now I'm going to do a couple of things different today. I've got me long compression socks on because for 2 reasons. I'm going to run in them in Dragon's Back because less chance of ticks attacking me, but I also understand they increase the blood flow, so that could be helpful as well. So hopefully they won't fall down. They are falling down a bit on my warm-up, but hopefully they'll stay up. If they don't, they don't. You know, I'll have to get some others. And the other thing I'm doing different is I'm going to run in carbon plate spikes because I bought a pair last year, a couple of months ago, reduced significantly, and they've I've got pyramid spikes in rather than needles, which is the bit that's different. I mean, I've run in spikes before, but the bit that's different is the pyramid spikes, which, looking at the course as we've just warmed up, should tackle the ground very well. Looking forward to it, see how it goes. So here they are. Seriously in need of baptising, I would say. And who makes cross-country spikes in white, eh? A lot of funny old business going on. I don't know what that plaster at the back is. But yeah, pyramid, so I can get a focus. Pyramid spikes. So let's see how they fare. What a groovy number, and we get to keep that for the whole of the cross-country season. 1111. Looks more like a barcode, really, doesn't it? Quick panic change. 10 minutes before the gun goes. Compression socks, not gripping. Lots of movement in the spikes, so I'm going to swap out to these. What I'm used to, a bit thicker. Hopefully, I won't slip about so much. And it's very warm as well. So once again, no footage of the race other than a couple of photographs. So I'm not going to carry a GoPro around with me while I'm racing hard cross countries. Decent hill in the middle, on which we went up twice because it was a 2-lap course. And I've got to say, probably the strongest I've felt in a cross country for a very long time. So maybe this zone 2 stuff is working. So here we go, heart rate stats. As you'd expect from a race, pretty much zone 4 with a tiny little bit in zone 5 as well. Awesome. So let's close out the week by talking about zone 2. I've been a running coach for, probably qualified for about 10 years now, and I've been training myself on and off for about 30 years of running. And it's only really in the last 3 weeks, because of a different approach to developing endurance, that I've really focused in on zone 2 training. I've heard about it, but I've probably blanked it out in the past because of probably a subconscious feeling that it will just make you slower. Now, in a way, I can't rewind the clock, but I would like to go back and discover it a lot earlier. Because 3 weeks in of focusing on keeping activities, 80% of the activities this week in zone 2 and the 3 weeks prior, I did a cross-country race, as we just reported, and it probably felt the best I've felt for a long time in a cross-country race. I couldn't have gone any faster, don't get me wrong, but the feeling of holding the pace that I was doing felt much more manageable than historical cross-country races where I felt a bit like I'm having to graft, whereas this felt like more of a maintaining, if that makes sense. So anyway, huge benefits. I do feel like historically I've probably been in a constantly overtrained state or training too hard state. And also having a week of intense runs all the time, even though you perhaps didn't class them as intense, meant that you mentally get tired, and each run is seen as a little bit of a chore sometimes as you start to cross that overtraining zone. Whereas now, 80% of my runs, I go out and I just know I've got to stay in zone 2, so I've got to just chill and enjoy myself and jog along and look at the trees, look at the birds, look at the rivers. And but yet there is huge training advantage, as seems to be being proven. So yeah, watch this space. Really enjoyed this training week. Really enjoyed it. Anyway, see you again next week. So quick peek at next week. Very similar format. Track Monday with a morning run. Recovery Tuesday, notching the Wednesday run up to 14 miles now. No intervals on Friday this week because the weekend is a double bill. We've got cross-country relays on the Saturday and then the Tiptree 10, one of my favourites, on the Sunday. So that'll be plenty of leg speed. Right, to close this week's video out. I know, you thought it closed out already, didn't you? But let's have a little bit of viewer interaction and closing comments. So before I explain the viewer interaction, congratulations if you've watched all this way through. As I say, you're one of the ultramind kind of people. But let's talk about content first of all. My whole point of doing these weekly video diaries is to keep it real, because if you're tuning into an ultra training channel, it would be lovely, wouldn't it, if it was all lakes and mountains, drone footage, beautiful scenery, you know the stuff. I enjoy watching them as well. But the reality, oh, my voice went there. The reality is that most of the training is very, very regular. No change of scenery. Get out there, plot it out, base stuff, which in Essex is never going to be that visually exciting. However, I have booked my first recce leg with Isabel for first 2 days of December, so we'll have plenty of footage. We're going to recce leg 5. Haven't got a drone, but I'll have a camera lady with me, so we'll get some good shots with that. So persevere, it will get better. But anyway, as I say, viewer interaction. If you are one of the people who has watched this all the way through, and only if you're one of the people who's watched it all the way through, pop a number, just a number, between 1 and 9 in the comments, and that will be my way of knowing that you are one of those people. Anybody else who sees the video will just see random numbers in the comments and have no idea what on earth that means. But we'll know, won't we? We'll know. And equally, if I find there's no random numbers in the comments, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't faze me. It just means, if nothing else, I'm recording these as my own video diary, which I'll probably look back over in a year's time and realise what a long way I came on the journey. So that really is the end of this video. This is just a 3 miler, close the week down. So thanks for watching, see you next week. Cheers.